Meanwhile,
Tale of two extremes, the duality of Bulldog sports. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Whatever you want to call it, the University of Georgia has a serious problem. A lot, and I mean a lot, of people care about college football. Fortunately, for most of us students, and for most of the rest of the state of Georgia, UGA is the reigning national champion. They were, and are arguably now, the best team in the country. On the other hand, the UGA men's basketball team is not good. They haven't been good for a long time. The last time UGA men's basketball went to the NCAA tournament, which I will now refer to as March Madness, was 2015. The last time they won a March Madness game was 2002. 2002! Most UGA students weren't even born then. So you have a historically and recently amazing football program. And less than a mile away in Stegman Stadium is a historically and recently poor basketball program. Fortunately for me, being fantastic and being horrible are both great reasons to discuss a team that we love. First, the University of Georgia's football team. In the 2021-2022 season, your UGA Bulldogs won the national championship. Coming off a 12-0 regular season, Georgia would go on to lose to Alabama in the SEC championship game. The perfect season was over, and perhaps the season entirely was thought to be over. Instead, after rebounding by beating the University of Michigan by a wide margin in the first round of the college football playoff, which we'll call CFP sometimes, the Georgia Bulldogs had a chance to face Alabama again, this time in the national championship. A fan-determined underdog, but betting favorite, your Georgia Bulldogs redeemed themselves and took home the first national championship they had in 41 years. They have continued to show they are dominant this season. One game away from the end of the regular season, the Dogs are that game away from a 12-0 record. They are favored to beat Louisiana State University, LSU, in the SEC championship game. They are the number one team in the country according to the Associate Press poll, the AP poll, and the CFP poll. There's a lot to be proud of in the football realm. Of course, an 11-0 record is nothing to scoff at. A likely, in terms of odds and statistics, return to the national championship as an ecstatic thought. Yet, I, as a UGA fan, but also as a sports journalist, am not completely enthused. UGA football is 11-0. That fact is undeniable. However, one can have an opinion on the quality of those 11 wins. And my opinion is that the quality of those wins is not amazing. About half of the wins are great, while the other half are disappointing. Large victories over Oregon, Tennessee, Auburn, and Vanderbilt are important and display the quality at which the UGA football team can play. However, games such as Missouri, Kent State, Kentucky, and even Florida are not inspiring. Close games between opponents that are obviously worse than the UGA football team imply the need for improvement. Let's talk more in depth about these disappointing games. First, the offense needs to improve. Scoring only 16 points against Kentucky and 26 against Missouri is not exactly where you want to be at. Even 27 points against Tennessee is not the desired offensive total, as Tennessee lets up an average of 26 points per game, and one of the best offenses in the nation, which the University of Georgia's offense has been called, only scored one more point than that average. South Carolina put up 63 points on them, while Alabama put up 49. On the other hand, the University of Kentucky lets up 21.6 points per game, yet UGA struggled to score 16. I truly worry about the UGA offense when having to face a defensive force. Worse yet, those defensive forces are on the way. LSU is ranked 19th in the country with 20.3 points allowed per game. After that, in the scenario that UGA football does make the college football playoffs, which is beyond likely, UGA may have to play the University of Michigan or Ohio State, who rank 1st and 8th in points allowed per game respectively. The offense is to be worried about. Next to worry about is the special teams. STR is the Special Teams for Mo Efficiency Index rating, a rating system that combines a lot of special teams efficiency stats. The average rating is, of course, 0. UGA's rating is 0.05. While that is above average, that ranks 59th in the Power 5. 1 and 10 Colorado is ranked 57. UGA football should not be worse in any category than 1 and 10 Colorado. At this point, you might be saying, "You're a nerd, just watch the games. If you need these obscure stats to prove your point, you're reaching." I would respond to that by saying I have watched every single game, every single snap, and every single glance of Stetson Bennett's eye. From what I have seen, the UGA football team, which has been so dominant in the trenches in the past, has been suffering, particularly on the offensive line. The once dominant offensive line has been struggling. Another thing is the hero ball being played. Stetson Bennett has had a tendency to try to do too much. While this has always been a problem, with an offense this loaded, he needs to calm down and take what's there. Finally, the offensive play calling has been interesting. While I do not believe it has been necessarily bad, I would love to see a little more variation. It seems like the play calling is relying on the idea that our players are just better, a lot of one-on-ones. While that is usually the case, losses in the trenches allude that this is not always the case. And I would love not more inventive play calling, but more variety in said offensive play calling. Put simply, UGA's football team has some things to worry about. But who am I kidding? Georgia's football team is 11-0, favored to be 12-0 this weekend by 3 touchdowns. A perfect regular season is around the corner. This team is amazing. The second best defense in terms of points allowed per game, an offense including perhaps the 2 best tight ends in the nation, and of course, Alabama has 2 losses this year. UGA football is on the verge of being back-to-back national champions. This team knows success. They know how to win. As I'm sure many of you have said by now, a win is a win, and UGA has won a lot. A team that has not won a lot, though, is right down the road. It's in the same town. It has the same moniker in front of it. UGA men's basketball was 6-26 last year. They won one conference game the entire year last year. UGA men's basketball plays in Stegman Coliseum, and the most popular and perhaps meaningful event that Stegman has held in the past 2 years is the watch party for the football team's championship, not the basketball team's. Luckily, the team is projected to turn it around this year and win 14 games and fall just under a winning percentage of 500 or 50%. Improvement, right? I guess, but this team is so depressingly bad. How is improvement 500? I know as UGA football fans we have become accustomed to winning, which could be good. Unfortunately, it has made us extremely upset with our men's basketball team. I am sorry, losing to the University of Alabama is okay. Yes, we all hate it. I hate Alabama, but it's understandable to lose to a big school like them in which their school is known for their sports. But losing to Alabama Birmingham is not okay in any sport. I don't want to lose to UAB anytime, anywhere, in any sport. I know their basketball team is good, or at least better, and they have a lot of good programs. But is it not upsetting to see a school like UAB destroy us? UGA men's basketball got dominated in the second half. That is a one-game example. But it is a one-game example of a major problem. Let's go from the smallest example possible to the largest example possible. March Madness. March Madness is, in my opinion, the best tournament slash playoff slash sports event slash whatever you want to call it in all of American sports. 64, or I guess technically 68 teams compete for the nation's top prize in basketball. Anything can happen. While a number 1 seed often wins, it was only 8 years ago that number 7 seed UConn won. And we discussed that UGA men's basketball has not had historic or even recent success in the tournament. But what about this year? Could we have success? Will recent success be on the horizon? The answer is no, and I'm not even going to say probably no, even though as a journalist that's most often necessary. Your UGA men's basketball team has a 0.4% chance to make March Madness. Not to win March Madness, to make it. 0.4%. UGA is plus 100,000 to win March Madness according to Caesars Sportsbook, which is around 0.01%. I say around because the sportsbooks disagree. Let's go on a tangent here, however. I'm a bit of a history nerd. In 1946, President Harry Truman offered $100 million for the territory of Greenland. While a lot has changed since then, $100 million is still a substantial amount of money. 34,507 households in the United States have a net worth of $100 million. That is 0.03% of Americans. You are 3 times more likely to be able to buy Greenland than the UGA men's basketball team is to win March Madness. It gets worse. I know that's unbelievable, but it does. According to Caesars Sportsbook, again, the University of North Texas has the same chance to win March Madness. Their full name is the University of North Texas Mean Green, as in Mean Joe Green, the dominant football defensive tackle. A school named after a football player has the same chance to win March Madness as your Georgia Bulldogs. Furthermore, the University of Northern Iowa, a school with less than 10,000 undergraduate students, has better odds than the UGA men's basketball team does to win it all in March Madness. I'd be worried about UNI fans attacking this video, but I'm not sure they even have internet there. Much less if they even know how to use it, as only 65% of students at UNI graduate. There are things to look forward to, however. UGA men's basketball has a new coach, Mike White. An extremely successful coach is now with us in Athens, Georgia, and hoping to return this team to success. Can you return a team to success if it's never had it? Anyway, a new coach after a 6-26 season will always indicate a better future. Next is the projected record. The Bulldogs are projected to win around 14 games. If they can exceed this mark, they will likely reach a winning percentage of 50% or 500, a huge success. Finally, the most important step is development. Frankly, I could not care less about how many wins we achieve this year. This roster is young. Developing those young players is of the utmost importance. Then, if that development builds, games will be won, which will lead to better recruiting, which will lead to more wins, etc., etc. So development right now is the most important thing. But at the heart of things, UGA men's basketball is just not good. Things need to change. Robbing UGA students and UGA fans of the arguable second biggest American sport is a travesty that needs to be righted. Bulldog fans are really in a tough spot. I am beyond positive that UGA football fans would not switch the program right now for any other program in the nation. But on the other side of things, I am equally as positive that UGA's men's basketball fans would switch their program for a lot of other programs in the nation. In an instant. It's a shame. I truly think academics are the most important aspect of a university. But how could one look upon UGA and not think about sports? And instead of those thoughts being all positive, they are flooded with a good amount of negativity. How could a university be so good in one sport, yet so bad in another? Well, that's the Bulldog Paradox.
This has been Peach State Sports produced by me, Joseph Kopshaw. Thanks for watching.